Are New World current play numbers a worrying sign? Well, my answer to that is no, and I think it may actually be a positive. Let me explain. So you're probably all too familiar with this by now. This is where we have a look at the play numbers, and you might be thinking, hey look, April actually got a boost over March, and that's when Season 1 came out. Either you might think that's not a good enough boost, or you might be happy with that. Now let's take a second to work out how much did it actually go up by. Well, it went up by about an average of 2,000 in the month of April. It's worth noting that even though in the last 30 days technically that's been an increase, it's very similar from the last 30 days to April. What I actually think is going to happen in May, I think these numbers will drop a little bit. I did think that at one point it might hit its lowest numbers ever, but I'm not sure that's going to happen anymore. I think May will be the last drop we see in quite a while. Yes, I appreciate that's probably a bold claim. Now, considering what was actually included in the Season 1 of New World, I think that's a relatively reasonable player bump. There was nothing truly major in it. There wasn't a new zone, there wasn't a new weapon. It was literally a new dungeon and a little bit of a storyline. Yes, we had the player rebalance and the gear sets and stuff like that, but really not very much. So to see a player bump, I actually think is a positive sign, especially for what we actually got. And I think we can expect this kind of bump every single season going forward. Now, I think it's a positive sign because if you actually trickle down the numbers, pretty much since launch, the play numbers were going down up until a specific point, and that specific point was effectively the end of July. So all of the previous patches up until then, we lost players, it didn't impact the numbers at all. And then something around here changed, and that something was one, the Summer Medley Fur patch. That was actually just a banger of a patch. And two, in August we got the reveal of Brimstone Sands, and that's when the hype for the game sort of started coming back. But my point is, we didn't see any noticeable bumps apart from April here, which had a very minor bump from most of the previous patches. Then we got Brimstone Sands and we got that hype, and we got the Summer Fur hype, and then it was going up until the point it hit its peak when Fresh Start was launched, Brimstone was out, and then it just sort of trended downwards. It's what you would expect. Now we see the pattern. What we're going to see is a little bump every season and a bigger bump when we get major content. And I personally still think we're going to see the announcement, or the reveal I should say, of the major content at the end of this year. I think we're going to see that around about June. I think it's going to be at the Game Awards. So May might sort of settle down, it might actually drop significantly. I don't know how much it will drop, but then after May, early June, something like that, we'll get the Season 2 teasers and the PTR and stuff like that, as well as an expansion trailer will be on the horizon, as long as there's been no delay or anything that I obviously can't predict. That will be a double whammy. We'll get the little boost from the Season 2 patch, and the hype for the expansion, that will bring people back. So you might be worried that, oh, it's not the most popular MMO out there, but really, I think New World's in a pretty solid position, and I'm actually quite optimistic about the future. We now know the cadence of content we're going to get, and we know the type of content we're going to get as well. And I think they're just going to get better at doing that. Now, that's not to say that the expansion will make everything perfect. There's a lot of changes that I want to see and need to see. They have mentioned about a major gear rework, and that's really positive news in my eyes. So I'm not really worried about the play numbers at all. Even if we did drop to the lowest point, which I don't think we're going to do anymore, then I still wouldn't necessarily be worried. I'll be a little bit worried if the expansion gets its trailer, we get to know its features, and people are not excited. We know some of its features, for example, we know mounts, etc., but let's see more. And in Season 2, we're going to get raids. That's going to really fill out the endgame content for the PvE side of things. Yeah, I'm really, truly, actually optimistic. We're sort of done with the entire fall of New World. That's gone. A lot of people still have it in their heads if you don't play New World, but now they're going to go on a consistent treadmill cycle. The season will give us a little bump, and the end of year big content that they said is going to come every year, that will give us a major bump. Rinse and repeat. And you know what? I'm here for it. They've been making some positive changes lately with the balance. They're saying a lot of good things. Granted, they always say a lot of good things. But yeah, I'm actually on board with this. Am I worried? Not really. I actually think things are going pretty swell. We're settling into the players that are actually just going to be playing this consistently. Yes, I hope they improve the game and we try and drag in people who basically stopped playing or haven't played it yet. But that's what expansions are for. That's what major changes are for. And I think New World can do it. Now, obviously, recently they did close the forums. I've not really made a public statement about that or a video about that because, you know what? I'm not really sure what it means. They closed it for Lost Ark as well, and yes, I do think it's quite a sad moment. I think the forums are just a better forum than Discord. I think it's easier to communicate, it's easier to get points across, it's easier to find things, it's easier to have more detailed posts on there. Yeah, I'm a fan of forums, but maybe I'm just old and maybe Discord is the new thing. We'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. Some people are saying, hey, it's what they do before they shut the game. I mean, technically they could shut the game at any time, right? But I don't think the forums closing are really an indication of that. Like, they're not going to be closing Lost Ark because they've done the same thing over there. I'm assuming it's just the way they want to communicate, possibly to hide negative feedback. That could be one of the reasons, possibly to keep the cost down of having a community manager and stuff like that. Well, not a community manager, but you know what I mean? Like representatives who are basically on there every day replying to bug threads and stuff like that. Or maybe they legitimately just think Discord's how they're going to connect with the people who are playing their game. They pretty much know everybody who's in companies and guilds and stuff like that. You probably are in a Discord already, aren't you? So I've not made a big statement about it. I'm sad to see it go, but I don't really think it's all that massive. It will be important to see how they communicate with us, because I'm already finding that Discord is just harder to find what the devs are saying. I really liked having the dev tracker on the forum, and to lose that is a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, pretty optimistic about the future of New World personally. Hopefully they won't just go and like announce that they're closing it or anything anytime soon and just make me look like an absolute fool. I already look like a fool enough. I don't need your help, AGS, but I do need your help. If you want to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member or Patreon is the best way. Otherwise you can come and give me a follow over on Twitch. What you should definitely do though is have the most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.